President Trump made a statement from Mar-a-Lago on January 4th that just activated a multi-billion-dollar pipeline between Houston and Miami. He announced that U.S. companies will be heavily involved in rebuilding Venezuela's collapsed oil infrastructure. Here's what nobody is telling you. Houston has the engineers, but Miami is about to become the operations center for the entire reconstruction effort. If you own commercial property in South Florida or you're watching warehouse rents, the next 6 months are going to rewrite the pricing model. This isn't speculation anymore. The logistics hubs are already seeing activity. Before we go any further, if you're watching this video right now, you're already ahead of the curve. You're not getting your news from the mainstream outlets that are 2 weeks behind the story. You're here because you want the ground truth, the real intel on what's moving money in Florida before everyone else figures it out. So do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel, because if you're tired of surface-level coverage that doesn't connect the dots, if you're exhausted by channels that just read headlines without showing you the economic ripple effects, then you're in the right place. We dig deeper here. We follow the money. We show you what's coming next, not what already happened. All right, let's get into it. This video is going to give you something you won't find anywhere else. We're connecting a geopolitical shift that just happened in Venezuela to real estate prices in South Florida, and we're doing it in real time. Mainstream media is covering the Venezuela story as foreign policy. Business channels are talking about oil prices going up or down. What nobody is doing is showing you how the Houston-Miami pipeline actually works, why proximity to Caracas matters more than having the best engineers, and why that geographical advantage is about to create the most aggressive commercial rent spike Florida has seen since the post-COVID logistics boom. If you're an investor, if you're a business owner trying to renew a lease, or if you're just someone who wants to understand where capital is flowing in this state, this video gives you a 6 to 12-month head start. The industrial real estate market near Miami International Airport is experiencing a supply crunch right now that's going to drive rents up by double digits. Executive housing demand in places like Brickell and Coral Gables is spiking because oil industry executives need to be close to the airport, close to their bilingual teams, and close to flights that get them to Venezuela in 3 hours instead of 5.5. And here's the myth we need to destroy right now. People think Texas wins every oil boom. That was true when the oil projects were in Texas or North Dakota or Alaska, but when the rebuild is happening in Latin America, logistics and flight time beat technical headquarters every single time. Miami's geographic advantage just became a pricing advantage, and most people haven't figured that out yet. So let's break this down, piece by piece. The catalyst for everything we're about to talk about happened on January 4th, when President Trump stood at Mar-a-Lago and said that U.S. companies will be heavily involved in fixing Venezuela's oil infrastructure. He called it rotted, and he's not wrong. Venezuela has approximately 303 billion barrels of proven oil reserves. That's the largest in the world. Bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Canada, bigger than anyone. But here's the problem. Current production is a fraction of what it should be, because for 20 years, the refineries, the pipelines, the export terminals, all of it has been left to decay under Maduro's regime. Maintenance didn't happen, upgrades didn't happen, parts weren't replaced, equipment broke down and stayed broken. What we're looking at now is not a one-year fix. This is a multi-decade infrastructure, reconstruction project that requires constant coordination, constant supply chain management, and constant executive oversight. The companies that can do this work are the big names you already know: Chevron, Exxon, Halliburton, Schlumberger. These are the giants of the oil industry, and they all have their engineering teams headquartered in Houston. That makes sense. Houston is the brain of the oil industry. It's where the technical design happens, where the drilling research and development takes place, where the corporate headquarters have been for decades. But here's the shift that most analysts are missing. You can't run daily operations for a project in Venezuela from Houston. A flight from Houston to Caracas takes 5.5 hours. A flight from Miami to Caracas takes 3 hours. That 2.5-hour difference might not sound like a lot if you're taking one trip, but when you're managing boots-on-the-ground operations where executives and project managers need to be in Caracas or Maracaibo multiple times per month, that difference is everything. It means Miami becomes the logical headquarters for contract law, for bilingual administrative teams, for supply logistics, and for day-to-day management. So Houston keeps the engineering, Miami gets the operations, and that's where the money starts to move. Let's talk about why Miami's infrastructure is the key to all of this. Miami International Airport is already the #1 U.S. airport for international freight. It's already the top trading partner with Latin America. That existing infrastructure is what makes Miami the bottleneck advantage for Venezuelan reconstruction. When you need to rebuild a refinery in Maracaibo, you can't just ship parts from Houston and hope they clear customs in Venezuela efficiently. The logistics don't work that way. You need just-in-time delivery of specialized machinery, technical equipment, turbine parts, all of it staged in a place where bilingual logistics teams already exist, where customs channels are established, where direct freight flights to Caracas are already operational. Port Miami and Miami International Airport are the only facilities in the United States with the capacity to handle the volume surge that this reconstruction is going to require in 2026. You can't build that infrastructure overnight. It already exists in Miami. It doesn't exist anywhere else at this scale. So what does that mean for the ground? It means there's an immediate demand shock for warehouse and industrial flex space in Doral, in Medley, in Hialeah, and especially in the areas around the airport. We're seeing what people on the inside are calling a warehouse land grab. Contractors who understand the timeline, who know that this reconstruction is about to ramp up, they're locking in long-term leases right now, before the broader market realizes what's happening. And here's the thing. South Florida's industrial vacancy rate is below 3%. That's not a typo. Below 3%, there is almost no available space. So when new demand comes in from oil contractors who need staging areas for equipment, who need space to coordinate shipments, who need warehouses near the airport, that demand doesn't just fill empty space. It triggers bidding wars. And that's already starting. But the logistics story is only half of the equation. The other half is where the people managing these operations are going to live. We're seeing executives from Chevron, from Exxon, from Halliburton relocating to South Florida, and it's not about the lifestyle. It's not about the beaches or the weather or the nightlife. It's about proximity. Managing a reconstruction project of this scale requires being on the ground. You need to be in Venezuela. You need to be there for contract negotiations, for site inspections, for coordinating with local teams, for handling supply chain issues in real time. And when you're flying back and forth multiple times a month, a 3-hour flight from Miami is manageable. A 5.5-hour flight from Houston every week is exhausting. It's inefficient. For senior leadership who are coordinating contract, who are managing timelines, who are overseeing billions of dollars in infrastructure spending, Miami is the only city that makes logistical sense. And these aren't remote workers looking for affordable housing. These are executives with deep corporate housing budgets. They need furnished units. They need short-term flexibility because they don't know if they'll be here for 6 months or 3 years. They need proximity to Miami International Airport so they can get to a flight in 20 minutes instead of an hour. And they need access to bilingual business services because half their team is going to be working in Spanish. That demand is hitting Brickell, Coral Gables, and Weston the hardest. These are areas where luxury rentals are already in high demand, and now you're adding oil expats who have corporate backing, who aren't negotiating on price, who just need a place to live that checks all the boxes. This isn't the same demand that drove Miami's post-COVID boom when people were fleeing New York and California for lower taxes and remote work. This is corporate-backed, recession-resistant housing demand. And because the reconstruction timeline is multi-decade, this isn't a temporary surge. This is a permanent shift in who lives in South Florida and why they're here. Now here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't a zero-sum game where Miami wins and Houston loses. It's a synergistic boom. Both cities benefit, but in completely different ways. Houston's role is what it's always been. Technical design, drilling research and development, corporate headquarters for the legacy oil companies. That's not going anywhere. But the day-to-day execution of rebuilding Venezuela's infrastructure requires a different skill set, and that's consolidating in Miami. You need contract law expertise. You need bilingual administrative coordination. You need supply chain managers who understand Latin American logistics. You need a place where executives can live comfortably while flying back and forth to Caracas constantly. Those functions are moving to Miami because geography matters, and investors are figuring this out. They're not choosing between Houston and Miami anymore, they're buying in both cities. But the scarcity dynamics are different. Texas has land. You can build out. You can expand. Florida doesn't have that luxury. South Florida is hemmed in by the Everglades on one side and the ocean on the other. There's only so much buildable land, and most of it is already developed. That scarcity means price appreciation in Miami is going to be more aggressive than in Houston, especially in commercial and industrial real estate. The Houston-Miami pipeline is now active. Capital is flowing between these two cities in both directions. But the upside risk, the chance that prices move faster than expected, is higher in South Florida because supply constraints are tighter. If you're an investor trying to figure out where to deploy capital, that's the calculus you need to understand. So let's talk strategy. If you're looking at where to invest right now, there are two clear opportunities. The first is industrial flex space under 10,000 square feet in the Airport West submarket. These are units that are perfect for small to mid-sized contractors who are supporting oil industry logistics, but don't need massive distribution centers. Right now, you can still find availability. In 6 months, that window closes. The second opportunity is on the residential side. 2-bedroom units in Doral or Brickell with easy airport access. These are the properties that corporate housing coordinators are searching for right now. They need something that an executive can move into quickly, that's close to the airport, that has the amenities and services, that makes short-term living comfortable. And here's the shift that most investors are missing. The Maduro Premium is fading. For years, the demand driving Miami real estate was wealthy Venezuelans fleeing the regime, bringing their capital, buying luxury condos, investing in high-end properties. That was the story. But we're transitioning into the Reconstruction Premium now. The demand isn't refugees, it's U.S. companies staging operations. And that changes what matters. It's not about luxury amenities anymore. It's about utility. It's about proximity to the airport. It's about flexibility. Investors who understand that shift, who buy properties optimized for executive short-term rentals, or for contractors who need staging space, those investors are going to outperform the ones who are still chasing high-end waterfront condos with infinity pools. Now let's talk about the political angle because this matters more than people realize. Florida-based leadership in Washington is ensuring that Florida ports and infrastructure get prioritized for Venezuelan reconstruction contracts. The political alignment between Florida's congressional delegation and the Trump administration's Latin America policy creates a structural advantage for Miami's logistics infrastructure. When federal contracts get awarded for reconstruction logistics, for port access, for supply chain coordination, Florida's political influence means that Miami International Airport and Port Miami are positioned as the primary staging hubs. This isn't just about business fundamentals. This is about political capital translating directly into economic infrastructure investment. Over the next 2 years, expect federal funding for port expansion, for customs streamlining, for freight capacity upgrades in South Florida. That public investment amplifies the private sector boom we're already seeing, and it creates a reinforcing cycle. More political support means better infrastructure, which attracts more corporate activity, which justifies even more political support. If you're trying to understand why Miami is winning this over other coastal cities, the political infrastructure is a huge part of the answer. Now, the question everyone is asking, is this sustainable or is this just a short-term spike? And here's why I think this is structural, not speculative. The Venezuela reconstruction timeline is multi-decade. Rebuilding oil infrastructure that's been neglected for 20 years doesn't happen in 12 months. This is a 10 to 20-year project. That means the logistics hubs, the executive housing, the bilingual administrative teams supporting this effort, they're here for the long term. This isn't like the COVID-era remote work trend where people moved to Florida, and then some of them moved back when offices reopened. This is a fundamental shift in how U.S. oil companies operate in Latin America. The geographic advantage Miami has isn't going away. The infrastructure advantage isn't going away. The bilingual workforce advantage isn't going away. So the risk isn't that demand disappears. The risk is that South Florida doesn't build enough supply to meet it. Industrial vacancy rates below 3% mean there's no buffer. If demand from oil contractors continues at this pace, we're going to see rent spikes that price out local businesses, that make it impossible for small companies to compete for warehouse space. That creates a political tension between economic growth and affordability. Developers who can navigate that tension, who can build industrial space and executive housing at scale, they're going to capture outsized returns. But it's going to require navigating zoning, permitting, community pushback, all the friction that comes with rapid development. So what should you be watching over the next 30 to 60 days to confirm this thesis? There are 3 key indicators. First, watch warehouse lease velocity in Doral, Medley, and Airport West. If long-term leases continue to spike, if we see announcements of major contractors signing 5-year or 10-year commitments, that confirms they're committing serious capital and they believe this timeline is real. Second, track executive condo rental rates in Brickell and Coral Gables. If corporate housing demand is real, it's going to show up in pricing first. If we see rental rates climb by 10 to 15% over the next quarter, that validates the relocation thesis. Third, monitor federal infrastructure announcements related to Port Miami and Miami International Airport. If we see announcements about customs expansion, about freight capacity upgrades, about federal dollars flowing into South Florida logistics infrastructure, that signals long-term policy support. If all 3 of those indicators confirm over the next 60 days, the Reconstruction Premium becomes the dominant pricing force in South Florida commercial real estate for the next 5 years. If any of them stall, if the lease velocity slows down, or rental rates plateau, or federal funding doesn't materialize, then it suggests the demand surge is slower than expected, and that gives investors more time to position themselves before prices move. Here's the bottom line. The fall of the Maduro regime just triggered the largest infrastructure rebuild in Latin America in 2 decades. Houston is going to provide the engineering expertise. That's what Houston does, but Miami is becoming the administrative and logistics capital of that effort because of one simple fact: geography. A 3-hour flight to Caracas versus a 5.5-hour flight from Houston makes South Florida the only logical headquarters for day-to-day operations. That proximity advantage is driving a commercial real estate boom right now in industrial flex space and in executive housing. This isn't speculation. The warehouse land grab is already happening. Executive relocations are already happening. The political infrastructure support is already in place. The only question is whether you're positioned to benefit from it, or whether you're going to watch it happen and realize 6 months too late that you missed the window. Over the next 30 days, here's what you need to watch. First, industrial lease announcements in the Airport West corridor. If major oil contractors are locking in long-term commitments, that confirms the timeline is real and the money is committed. Second, rental rate increases in Brickell and Coral Gables. If corporate housing demand is driving prices up, you'll see it in the rental data first before it hits purchase prices. Third, federal infrastructure spending tied to Port Miami or Miami International Airport. If Washington is backing this with actual policy and actual dollars, it validates the long-term thesis that this isn't just a short-term boom, but a structural shift that's going to last a decade or more. The Reconstruction Premium is replacing the Maduro Premium. The demand isn't people fleeing anymore. It's U.S. companies staging operations. And that shift creates a 10 to 20-year economic cycle that's going to define South Florida's commercial real estate market for the next decade. If you want to stay ahead of these shifts, if you want the ground truth on what's moving capital in Florida, before the mainstream media catches up and before everyone else figures it out, subscribe to this channel. This is where we follow the money. This is where we connect the dots between geopolitics and your local real estate market. No fluff, no hype, just the intel you need to make better decisions. That's what we do here. I'll see you in the next one.